Hello learners, this is Habeeba with Excelwithme. If you like the video, please do like, share, subscribe and comment below. Let's start today's class, that is the main topic we were discussing about the hypothesis, sampling, tools and techniques of data collection under research paper. We have already touched hypothesis and sampling. Today we are going to discuss tools and techniques of data collection. After the finalization of the sample, the researcher has to work out his or her strategies for data collection. Obviously, when we found the research question, we already know about the objectives, hypothesis and who will be our sample, what will be our sample size. Now we have to choose which kind of data collection we are going to do. What are the strategies? There are various methods and tools of data collection. We use these methods as well as tools both in theoretical study and empirical study. It is important to note that the methods and tools will vary depending upon the nature of the study, what kind of study we are going to do, qualitative, quantitative, which comparative, correlational, what kind of study we are doing, that depends which kind of tool or method we are going to apply. In some studies, we may have to use more than one method or tool for data collection. For example, I told you one question I have taken, that is effect of emotional intelligence on academic achievement of secondary school students. What could be my tools here? I have chosen one questionnaire to understand about the emotional intelligence, and then I have taken the report cards of the secondary school students, that is what is their academic achievement. So it depends how many things or tools you are going to apply. Now, following three methods are employed in collecting data from primary sources. Number 1, observation, 2, interview, 3, questionnaire. Let's understand these three in detail. Number 1 is observation. The basic method of obtaining information about social phenomena under investigation. Observation means we are going to observe the people. That is the way of obtaining the information. Now, observations become a method of data collection when it is planned in accordance with the purpose of research and recorded systematically, keeping in mind the validity and reliability of observed data. Just like that, normally we observe things. It's not like that in research. It should be recorded systematically and there should be validity and reliability of that data which we have observed. Now, what are the type of observations? On the basis of degree of structuredness, unstructured and then structured. What is unstructured? Unstructured itself tells you a practical situation, not possible to plan out the observation process in advance. At that moment, we have to observe things and record them. Then structured, a clear and specific definition of the units to be observed and data to be collected. Already we have planned, we have made the structure on which we are going to do the observation. Now, type of observation on the basis of observation procedure. Number 1, participant observation. Number 2, non-participant observation. Now, in participant observation involves sharing the life of the group under study by the researcher. If we are going to do any research about the tribal people, maybe in Assam or Mizoram somewhere, then they will share their life experiences here. That is participant observation. Now, non-participant observation, lack of participation by the observer in the life of the group that a researcher is observing. Somebody will help them out to get the observation to the researcher. Now, interview. Second one is interview. A verbal interaction between the researcher and the respondents. We all know about what is interview. This method has been a widely used method of data collection. This method involves presentation of verbal questions orally and collecting oral verbal responses. Many feel that the best way to find out why people behave as they do is to question them about their behavior directly by interviewing them. Obviously, if we are doing any behavioral research, we are going to ask them directly. In this method, the interviewer asks questions in a face-to-face contact, generally to the interviewee, the person who is being interviewed, who gives answers mostly to these questions. Now, interview has been a widely used method of data collection so far as information about the social background, opinion, attitudes, changes in relations are concerned. For example, if we take NEP 2020, what were the things earlier, what the things they are observing right now, we can ask the stakeholders here. Now, types of interview here based on their functions: diagnostic interviews, clinical purposes, they use these diagnostic interviews here. Then comes the based on the number of persons participating. That is how many number, that is maybe group interview or maybe individual interview, and also telephone interviews also based on the participation. Then based on the degree to which they are structured, that is structured interviews and unstructured interviews. Sometimes we go and collect the information from the relevant persons unknowingly, accidentally maybe. Third one is questionnaire, a set of printed or written questions with the choice of answers devised for the purpose of a survey or statistical study. We use these questionnaires a lot. These help us to understand and analyze the things also. The questionnaire is a method of data collection with the contents and type of questions, the format and sequence of questions here. Now let's understand what are the types of these questionnaires here. Content of questions. Questionnaire enlists questions which translate the research objectives into specific questions. That means the question must also encourage the respondent to, so that the necessary data is obtained. It is to these two ends that the question becomes the focus around which the questionnaire is constructed. Now, one of the major issues involved in formulating the question is its content. Obviously, to making the content is very, very important. The major issues on which questions may be concerned are facts, opinions, attitudes, respondents, motivation, and their level of acquaintance with the research problem. It's not easy to get this type of making these tools also and getting the data from the participants. By and large, questions can be classified into two general categories, namely factual questions, secondly opinion and attitude questions. Now, what are factual questions? Factual questions are asked to elicit information from the respondents regarding their background, such as sex, age, marital status, education or income. Let's see, the following is an example of such a question. What is your level of education? Please check one. Maybe graduate, intermediate, high school, middle school, primary, illiterate. This is the one factual question here. Next one is opinion and attitude questions. So the concept attitude refers to the sum total of a person's inclination, prejudices, that means judging people beforehand, unknowing. Also, we judge people by just having one look. Ideas, fears and convictions about any specific topic. Now, opinions on the other hand are the verbal expression of attitudes here. Thurston given these meanings here. Opinions are the verbal expressions of attitudes. Now, thus a statement such as child labor should be banned would reflect an opinion that is against child labor, but an attitude towards child labor would mean a more specific orientation of what a person feels and thinks about child labor, obviously. Now, attitudes can be described by their content, what the attitude is about, by their direction, maybe positive, neutral or negative feelings about the object or issue in question. Everybody has their own opinion and own attitude towards any phenomena, and by their intensity an attitude may be held with greater or lesser vehemence. To one person, child labor may be just of passing interest. To another, it may be of great significance, and that person may be ready to join anti-child labor movements, obviously. Now, questions about opinions and attitudes present more problems in construction than questions about facts. Now, the second one is formats of questions. How should be the questions now? The format of the question and the response categories accompanying the questions are other aspects which need attention of the researchers. Now, three types of question formats are there. Number one, open-ended questions, two close-ended questions, and the third one is contingency questions. Let's understand quickly all these. Now, open-ended questions, obviously we know yes or no questions. That means, are you aware of the Equal Remuneration Act? Say yes or no. This is this is close-ended actually. Wrongly written here. I'm sorry. This is close-ended. Close-ended question. Are you aware? That means whether you are aware or not. Here you will not have any other responses here. Maybe yes or no. Now here close-ended question. Again here I'm sorry. Here also close-ended question. Here equal remuneration should be given to, this is example of closed-ended questions. Equal remuneration should be given to men and women for same work or work of similar nature. Strongly agree, agree, indifferent, disagree, strongly disagree. These are close-ended questions. Now let's understand what is open-ended question here. Open-ended question means, are you aware? Here we will not give your yes or no. If we are giving this yes or no, again we have to use here questions, give the reasons. Then it will become open-ended. That's why I have forgot to write the second one here. Are you aware of the Equal Remuneration Act? They will say yes or no, that is close-ended. But we are going why? Then it will become the open-ended question. Each person will give their own answer. If you know what are the things, if you don't know why you are not aware, can give the reasons also here. This can become the open-ended question here. So open-ended, close-ended we understood. The third one, contingency. Frequently questions that are relevant to some respondents may be irrelevant to others. Obviously, if something is relevant to me, it doesn't mean that it is relevant to other people also. Now, for example, the question, check the most important reasons why you are not going to college. Obviously, applies only to those intermediate students who are not planning to go to college at all. Now, it is often necessary to include questions that might apply only to some respondents and not to others. Now, some questions may be relevant only to females and not to males. Others will only apply to respondents who are self-employed and so on. So many examples we can give which are relevant to somebody, which not relevant to others. Now, response format. Some are the formats of response categories of close-ended questions here. The general format is to present all possible responses and have the respondent check the appropriate response here. Let's see the example. The respondent can either encircle his or her own or check a box or a blank as in the following examples. What is your marital status here? Response questions you have to give in the box here. Now, rating scales. One of the most common formats for questions asked in social research is the rating scale. Obviously, the rating scale is used whenever respondents are asked to make a judgment in terms of sets of ordered categories such as agree, favorable, or very often. Here, these are the rating scale questions. For example, we are not given responsible positions because of their belief that most women are too emotional to be able to handle positions of great responsibility. This question can be different for different people. Some might agree, some undecided, some disagree. Undecided is neutral, some may disagree here. Then matrix questions. The matrix question is a method for organizing a set of questions that have the same response patterns. The following is an example here. In my workplace, the following welfare services are provided. Say yes or no. If yes, then what do you think about it? Maybe satisfactory, fairly satisfactory, unsatisfactory. Here they can give their answer. Now the third is the sequence of questions here. Once the format of questions is decided, a researcher has to consider the order in which questions are to be placed in the questionnaire. Now two general patterns of question sequence have been found to be most appropriate for motivating respondents to cooperate. The funnel sequence and the inverted funnel sequence. Let's understand quickly what is funnel sequence. Questions move from the general to specific here, like this cone, general to specific. Most common method of organizing questions usually relaxes interviewee and eliminates the need to ask many of the planned questions because interviewee volunteers the information here. We ask them about the general questions. Slowly we move forward to the specific here, that is funnel question. Now inverted funnel question, questions move from specific, from cone here, down cone here, from specific to general it will go. Questions move from specific to general, typically used with reluctant, shy or unmotivated respondents. The effective interview is flexible and can switch from funnel to inverted funnel as needed. It's not mandatory that we have to follow one only. According to the situation and the interviewee, it can be changed. So we come to the end of this class. I will come up with the next unit in the next class. If you like the video, please do like, share, subscribe and comment below. Thanks for your attention and time. Happy learning.